It is 40 years that we've been enjoying John Walter.
It makes you laugh too.
He was in the studio with me, and we do need a laugh today. It's been a very sad day here in Melbourne. But John, welcome to the This is the first time I've chatted to you in person.
Yes, it is.
Not in life, but in the
absolutely
in the radio world. 40 years, eh?
Yeah. It doesn't seem like 40 years, but they tell me it is.
Is it true that when Lovers in the Air was racing up the charts in America, that you were more interested in being out fishing?
Well, actually, no. That was Yesterday's Hero.
Yesterday's Hero, right?
Yeah, when that was racing up the charts, and I'll never forget it. I was in Swan Hill, at a motel in Swan Hill, sitting by the pool, and the phone rang, and it was Molly. "What are you doing, Squeak? Where are you?" "I'm in Swan Hill." "Well, you should be in America." "Oh, what are you doing?" And it started there, you know. Yeah, and then he changed that to me going fishing.
Oh, okay. All right, yes. Yeah, a couple of things are happening. You've got shows coming up in Melbourne for the 40 years.
Yes.
But you also got Van Park as well.
Yes.
Please explain, as Pauline Hanson would have said to you.
Yes, okay. I'll try. Van Park is a little comedy musical written by Steve, the guitarist who's here at the moment, written by his brother. And it's all about a washed-up rock and roller who's living in a caravan park with his wife, Gypsy Fire, who I think used to be a bit of a burlesque dancer, and his son, who plays keyboards, and he basically thinks his son is less than human because he plays keyboards and not the guitar. And there's also the other interest in the show is a chap named Nebuchadnezzar, who is a hippie and still suffering from the effects of hippiedom, and there's this mystery in the show as to who my son's real father is. My son's name is Curly.
Ooh.
And there's this eternal mystery as to, is he really my son?
It sounds great. It's had fantastic reviews.
Oh, that's good. I'm pleased to hear it because the music is really lovely, and it's very very humorous indeed, and a little bit edgy as well, fairly edgy.
You made that transition from pop star, rock and roller, to theatre very comfortably.
Yeah, I think we were sort of talking about this in the car on the way up.
Would have been a bit scary at first, though.
It's still scary. I'm telling you right now, it's still scary. I started off in Jesus Christ Superstar back in 1972, and at the same time, Pasadena became a bit of a hit, and so I had to. Well, I didn't juggle anything. I just had to get on with Superstar, and I just did that, and the song did what it did. I didn't make any appearances on TV or anything like that, and people actually thought that I was American or English, and it wasn't until Yesterday's Hero that I came out.
And you've been coming out ever since.
That's
We're
right.
Very happy about it. Who wrote Van Park?
Well, it's a guy named Greg Appel, and that's Steve's brother, and I think I've actually learned today, it comes from when they used to go camping in the Myall Lakes in New South Wales.
Steve, feel free to be a part of the conversation. It sounds fantastic, the show.
Well, we're about to find out. I think tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night's the big night, and as you can imagine, we're at that 11th hour where we're all terrified whether it's going to work out or not, but you know, it's going to be exciting. I'm
sure it'll be fine. John, you're still travelling around, touring around?
Oh yeah, it's you know, in this business, as you know, Dennis, it comes and goes, and I had a fairly quiet year last year, but the year before was probably one of my busiest ever, you know, so yeah, that's the biz, you know, and you know, it goes up and down.
There's a huge need out there at the moment for anything from decades past, and it's just been amazing, and it's not just in Australia, it's happening around the world.
Yeah, well that's good, because I actually heard from a friend of mine it was actually Herman Kovacs, who was the drummer from the Ted Mallory gang.
Yep.
And Herman's now a production man in country music. And Herman was telling me that he had lunch with George Young, the famous George Young, who wrote Lovers in the Air. And George was saying that Germany is actually going gangbusters with the old stuff. So maybe it's about time I made some phone calls.
It's a German tour.
Yeah, boy.
Now, you got some music for us today.
Yes, this is a song that appears at the end of the show when Akbar, that's my character, who's he's pretty well one-dimensional, crazy rock and roller, and he gets convinced to do a ballad, and ballads are way out of his league. He doesn't do ballads, but this is the ballad that Akbar does. Cheer up, family man. You've come this far. Go home to your wife and children and pack away your electrical guitar. At least they think you're a superstar. Family man, do the best you can. Time will tell. You build your home on solid land. Your home on solid land. Your home on solid land.
Beautiful.
Thank
That is
you.
fabulous. And it's part of the Comedy Festival Regent Theatre.
Well, no, it's Chapel on Chapel.
Chapel and Chapel at the moment,
Yep.
but later on,
Yep.
and you've got your other shows as well. You've mentioned Molly. Have you been in contact in the last?
Yes, I have.
lockdown?
I have been in contact with Molly, and I was delightfully surprised. I was because the rumour mill is always fast and furious, and I had a bit of a chat with him the other day, and I'm very pleased to say that he sounds great. And
Isn't that
of
good?
course he's a bit beaten up because of what happened, and but it's still going to take a bit of time, for him. But I was just so relieved. Yeah.
I suppose the thing that would come through most with something like that, and I fell off a ladder last year.
I came out of a loft. You'd be surprised how common it is.
Yeah, I shouldn't have had the last 3 or 4 glasses of red the night before, because
Yeah.
I must have just blanked out
Yeah.
for a second, and next thing I find myself falling, and thankfully I had the presence of mind just to reach out and
Yeah.
let myself fall towards the back of the garage wall.
Uh-huh.
If I'd gone straight backwards, it was onto one of those great big cement pots.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about what happened to Ian, is that he hit tiles, and you don't bounce when you hit tiles, So that was he's really fortunate that he, even though it's kind of really wrecked his left hand side, he's fortunate that he did come down on his left hand side, because had it been head first, it would have been all over.
Yeah, and I suppose, sorry, what I was going to say was, I guess your confidence is the thing that's, even with, as well as damage, your confidence is shot.
Yes, that's true. That is true. And when I came out of the loft, the same thing. I actually don't remember hitting the deck, but if I watch the news and see somebody come off a motorbike or something, my whole body just shivers.
What were you doing in the loft?
Well, I was on radio. I was on radio at the time, Dennis.
It's great to see you. I've got all this. I understand now. 40th anniversary shows in Sydney and Melbourne. The All Star Band. That is at the Regent Theatre in May.
Yep.
But this is at Chapel Off Chapel, 12 Little Chapel Street, Paran, and it's all happening from tomorrow night.
Yep. I'll just mention quickly. Nebuchadnezzar is played by Steve Kilby from the church.
Yep.
So everybody will know Steve, and he does a marvellous job of being a hippie. I don't know whether he's typecast. Maybe.
Steve, it's lovely to meet you. Elmo, thank you very much for coming in. And John Paul Young, let's not make it as long a time before we chat again. And Darren James would be sending his regards.
Oh, good on you. Thank you very much, Dennis.